12:47 p.m., Terminal 3, Miami International Airport. The fluorescent lights hum overhead like electric wasps. Maria clutches her phone, hands trembling as she approaches the CBP checkpoint. Behind her, the sounds of rolling luggage and distant announcements blur into white noise. Her heart pounds against her ribs like a caged bird desperate to escape. She's been a permanent resident for 3 years, clean record, perfect English, dream job waiting in Seattle. She's done everything right, followed every rule, paid every tax, built a life brick by brick in this country she now calls home. Ma'am, step to the side. The officer's voice cuts through her thoughts like ice through warm flesh. Her world stops, her breath catches, her American dream hangs in the balance. What happens in the next 60 seconds could destroy everything you've built in America. Your green card, your career, your family's future, all hanging by a thread you didn't even know existed. And it starts with 4 innocent words that sound so reasonable, so simple, so harmless. Can I see your phone? Those 6 syllables carry the power to unravel decades of hard work, to separate families, to end dreams, to send you back to a country that no longer feels like home. And most immigrants have no idea it's coming. Here's what 90% of immigrants do wrong and why it costs them everything. They think cooperation equals safety. They believe that being helpful proves their innocence. They assume that honesty will protect them. So when that CBP officer asks for their phone password, they hand it over without hesitation. They unlock their most private possession. They give strangers access to their entire digital life. They think they're protecting themselves. They're actually signing their deportation papers because buried in your phone, in texts you forgot about, apps you downloaded years ago, photos from a different time in your life, there's something that can be twisted against you, something innocent that can be made to look suspicious, something legal that can be made to appear illegal, something human that can be made to seem criminal. Every immigrant carries digital evidence that can end their American dream. Messages to family back home that could be misinterpreted as homesickness or lack of commitment to America. Photos from cultural events that could be painted as failure to assimilate. Apps downloaded in moments of curiosity that could suggest interests the government finds concerning. Financial transactions that could be questioned. Location data that could be analyzed. Search histories that could be scrutinized. And you're about to learn why your password is your most dangerous secret. Why the 4 digits or pattern you use to unlock your phone could be the key that locks the door to your future in America. Why that simple gesture of cooperation could be the moment everything you've worked for disappears. Let me show you exactly how they trap you, how they use psychology, manipulation, and your own good intentions against you. How they turn your desire to be a good person into your greatest vulnerability. They make it sound like you have a choice, like you're in control, like you're part of a friendly conversation. Would you mind unlocking your phone for us? The tone is casual, almost apologetic, as if they're asking you for directions or the time. But this is psychological manipulation disguised as politeness. It's a trap wrapped in courtesy, a snare hidden in a smile. You fall for it because you think saying no makes you look guilty, because you believe that innocent people have nothing to hide, because you assume that cooperation will make this interaction shorter, easier, less stressful. But here's the truth they don't want you to know. You have the absolute right to refuse. You can look that officer in the eye and say exactly this. I exercise my right to decline the search. You don't have to explain, you don't have to apologize, you don't have to justify, you just have to remember that your rights don't end at the airport. Here's their second favorite trick. We just need to check one thing, it'll take 2 seconds. They make it sound minimal, quick, harmless, like they're just gonna glance at your screen and hand it back. But once you unlock that phone, they don't just look at one thing. They scroll through years of your digital life. They screenshot everything. They copy your contacts. They examine your photos. They read your messages. They analyze your apps. They study your search history. They map your locations. They probe your financial data. There is no such thing as a quick look in their system. Once that phone is unlocked, your entire digital existence becomes their property. You fall for it because you believe limiting the scope protects you, because you think you can control what they see, because you imagine you can guide their attention away from anything problematic. But any access is total access. Any permission is complete permission. Any cooperation is full cooperation. The correct move is simple. Never unlock anything. Say exactly this. I do not consent to any search of my device. And then stay silent. The third manipulation is the most insidious. If you have nothing to hide, this shouldn't be a problem. This phrase has destroyed more lives than any other sentence in the English language. It turns your innocence into evidence of guilt. It makes your privacy seem suspicious. It transforms your constitutional rights into criminal behavior. They use this phrase because it works, because it makes good people feel ashamed of protecting themselves, because it convinces honest individuals that asserting their rights is somehow dishonest. Your innocent conversations become evidence of immigration violations. Your casual complaints about work become proof you're taking jobs from Americans. evidence. Your homesickness becomes evidence you don't belong here. Your cultural connections become signs of divided loyalty. Your financial struggles become indicators of public burden. Your mistakes become permanent marks against your character. The truth is that innocent people need protection the most. Guilty people expect to be treated harshly. Innocent people trust the system to be fair, and that trust is exactly what makes them vulnerable. Your privacy is your constitutional right, not suspicious behavior. Your refusal to be searched is legal wisdom, not criminal conduct. Your protection of your personal information is smart citizenship, not guilty conscience. Say exactly this: my privacy rights don't indicate guilt, and mean every word. The fourth trap is the most terrifying. Refusing to cooperate could affect your entry into the United States. This is where they stop pretending to be your friend, where the mask comes off, where the threat becomes explicit. They make you believe refusal equals automatic detention, that protecting your rights guarantees punishment, that asserting your constitutional protections will destroy your immigration status. They paint a picture of endless questioning, missed flights, separated families, and legal consequences that will follow you for years. But here's what they're not telling you. They're lying about the legal consequences of asserting your rights. They're exaggerating their power. They're exploiting your fear. They're counting on your desperation to avoid conflict. You fall for it because fear overrides your knowledge of your legal protections, because the stakes feel too high to take any chances, because you'd rather surrender your rights than risk your future. But refusing a phone search cannot legally be used as grounds for denial of entry. Your exercise of constitutional rights cannot be held against you in immigration proceedings. Your protection of your privacy cannot become evidence of wrongdoing. Know this truth. They need actual evidence of actual problems to actually act against you. Suspicion is not evidence. Refusal is not admission. Privacy is not guilt. Say exactly this: I understand my rights and choose to exercise them. Then stand firm. Now, let me tell you about the legal shield they desperately hope you never discover, the law that protects you from their digital invasions. The Supreme Court decision that should end their phone-searching tactics forever. Riley versus California, decided by the United States Supreme Court in 2014. This landmark case established that searching digital devices requires a warrant, not a request, not a demand, not a threat, a warrant signed by a judge based on probable cause. Following constitutional procedures. This ruling protects your entire digital life: your texts, your photos, your apps, your search history, your social media, your financial information, your location data, your personal communications, your private thoughts, your digital diary, your electronic relationships. Everything. The Supreme Court recognized that our phones contain the most intimate details of our lives, our hopes, our fears, our relationships, our struggles, our dreams, our mistakes, our growth, our humanity. They called it the privacies of life. And they ruled that these privacies deserve the highest level of constitutional protection. The Fourth Amendment doesn't disappear at the border. Your rights don't evaporate when you travel. Your constitutional protections don't end when you show your passport. Even border agents must respect constitutional protections against unreasonable searches. They need probable cause and a warrant, not just curiosity and a badge, not just suspicion and authority, not just questions and intimidation. This law is your digital armor, your electronic shield, your constitutional sword, and every CBP agent knows it exists. They've been trained on this decision. They understand its implications. They know the limits it places on their power. They're counting on you not knowing. They're gambling that your fear will overcome your rights. They're betting that your desperation will defeat your dignity. Don't let them win that bet. Here's your survival protocol, your step-by-step guide to protecting everything you've built in America. Before you travel, back up your phone and leave it at home. This isn't paranoia, this is preparation. Bring a clean travel phone with only essential contacts. Basic communication capability without years of digital history. If you must bring your regular phone, know that you have the right to keep it private. Stand straight, make eye contact, speak clearly. Your body language is your first communication. Your posture tells them whether you know your worth. Your confidence announces whether you understand your rights. Never look nervous. Nervousness suggests guilt even when you're innocent. Confidence suggests knowledge even when you're scared. Anxiety suggests vulnerability even when you're protected. Confidence is your first line of defense, your most powerful protection, your most effective tool. When they ask for your phone, say exactly this: I respectfully exercise my constitutional right to decline the search. Repeat it exactly. Memorize these words, practice them until they feel natural. Don't modify them, don't explain them, don't apologize for them. They are your shield, your protection, your power. Ask for names, badge numbers, and the legal basis for any search. Write it down immediately. Your memory is evidence. Your documentation is protection. Your record is your weapon. If they can't provide legal justification, they have no legal authority. If they can't cite specific laws, they're operating outside the law. If they can't explain their power, they probably don't have it. Do not explain why you're refusing. Do not justify your decision. Do not elaborate on your reasoning. Explanations become ammunition. Justifications become evidence. Reasoning becomes twisted into confession. The more you say, the more they can use against you. Silence is your friend. Brevity is your ally. Simplicity is your strength. If possible, have someone witness the interaction. Text a family member your location and situation. Create a record of what's happening. Establish a timeline of events. Document the violation of your rights. Witnesses change behavior. Records create accountability. Documentation demands justice. Say this: I want to speak with an attorney before proceeding. This is not a request. This is a demand. This is your right. Never waive this right. Never postpone this protection. Never delay this defense. Lawyers save lives. Legal representation prevents violations. Professional advocacy stops abuse. Document everything immediately after the encounter. Details fade, but records last forever. Write down names, badge numbers, exact quotes, specific times, particular locations, detailed descriptions. Your memory will blur, your emotions will interfere, your trauma will distort, but your written record will remain accurate. Your documentation will stay clear, your evidence will preserve truth. Let me paint you another picture, another moment when your rights become your lifeline. 30 p.m. Highway 101 just outside San Diego. You're driving home from your second job, tired but hopeful, working extra hours to pay for your daughter's college tuition. Living the American dream one paycheck at a time. Officer Martinez approaches your car window, flashlight cutting, through the darkness, radio crackling with distant conversations. Routine traffic stop for a broken taillight, he says. You're a naturalized citizen. You've been voting in American elections for 8 years. You pay taxes, own a home, coach Little League, volunteer at your church. You are American in every way that matters. But in this moment, under these lights, facing this uniform, you feel like a stranger in your own country. Can I see your phone to verify your identity? This is where most people's American dream ends, where citizenship feels fragile, where belonging becomes conditional, where rights become suggestions, but not for you, because you know what to do. Here's exactly your response. Keep your hands visible on the steering wheel. Movement can be misinterpreted. Sudden gestures can escalate situations. Visible hands demonstrate cooperation without surrender. Say this: Officer, I don't consent to any searches. Here's my driver's license and registration. Polite but firm, respectful but uncompromising, cooperative but protected. Do not explain why you won't unlock your phone. Explanations suggest you need justification for exercising your rights. You don't. Your rights exist without reason. Your protection requires no permission. Your privacy needs no apology. Do not mention your immigration status. Your citizenship is irrelevant to your constitutional rights. Your legal status doesn't determine your legal protections. Your origins don't affect your rights. Do not volunteer any information beyond what's legally required. Extra information creates extra problems. Additional details provide additional ammunition. More words mean more weapons against you, if they pressure you. I'm exercising my Fourth Amendment rights. If they threaten you, I understand, but I still don't consent. If they search anyway, I'm not resisting, but I don't consent to this search. Your phone stays locked. Your rights stay intact. Your dignity stays defended. Your future stays protected. Document everything the moment you're safe. Names, badge numbers, exact words, specific actions, particular violations, detailed timeline. This isn't just about a traffic stop. This isn't just about a broken taillight. This isn't just about one night on Highway 101. This is about protecting the life you've built in America. The family you're supporting, the dreams you're pursuing, the future you're creating. Listen to me carefully, because what I'm about to tell you could change your life. You belong here, not as a guest, not as a visitor, not as someone who should be grateful for tolerance. You belong here as an equal, as someone with rights, as someone with dignity, as someone with power. Your dreams matter. They're not smaller than anyone else's dreams. They're not less important than anyone else's ambitions. They're not secondary to anyone else's goals. Your family's future is worth protecting, worth fighting for, worth defending with every legal tool at your disposal. Every single day, immigrants just like you face these same moments of terror. In airports across the country, at border crossings from coast to coast, during traffic stops in every state, in routine encounters with law enforcement from sea to shining sea. They're tested at borders during traffic stops. In routine encounters with law enforcement, Their loyalty questioned, their intentions scrutinized, their rights challenged, their dignity threatened. And every single day, some of them lose everything because they didn't know their rights, because they trusted when they should have protected, because they cooperated when they should have resisted, because they surrendered when they should have stood firm. Families separated, dreams destroyed, lives upended, futures canceled, all because of ignorance about their own legal protections. But not you, never again, you. You're armed with knowledge now, protected by information, shielded by understanding, empowered by truth. You understand the traps, the psychological manipulations, the emotional pressure tactics, the legal intimidation strategies. You know the laws, the Supreme Court decisions, the constitutional protections, the legal precedents. You have power, real power, legal power, constitutional power, the same Constitution that protects every American citizen protects you too. Every amendment, every right, every protection, every guarantee. Your privacy isn't suspicious, it's sacred, protected by the highest law in the land, guaranteed by the Supreme Court, defended by the Constitution. Your refusal to unlock your phone isn't uncooperative, it's constitutional, it's legal, it's proper, it's American. You are not asking for special treatment, you are demanding equal protection under the law. The same protection given to every citizen, the same rights guaranteed to every person, the same dignity afforded to every American. And that's not just your right, it's your responsibility. To yourself because you deserve protection, to your family because they depend on you, to every immigrant who comes after you because they need the path you're creating. Stand tall because you have every right to be here. Speak clearly because your words carry legal weight. Know your worth because it's immeasurable. I want you to do something that could save someone's life. Send this video to every immigrant in your life, your cousin who just got his green card and still jumps every time he sees a police car, your neighbor studying for her citizenship test and memorizing every amendment, your coworker who's been here for 20 years but still feels like a stranger in his own country, your sister who sends money home and worries it makes her look disloyal, your friend who speaks with an accent and fears it makes him a target, your colleague who practices American customs but cherishes her cultural traditions. Help someone avoid the mistake that destroys families, the surrender that separates children from parents, the cooperation that costs people everything they've worked for, the trust that turns into betrayal. This information doesn't just protect you, it protects everyone you love, everyone in your community, everyone who shares your journey, everyone fighting the same battles. When CBP officers realize that immigrants know their rights, their tactics change. When they understand that their intimidation won't work, they find legal ways to do their jobs. When they recognize that their threats won't succeed, they respect constitutional boundaries. When immigrants stand together, we all get stronger, our individual knowledge becomes collective power, our personal protection becomes community defense, our private rights become public strength. Share this not because you're scared, but because you care, because knowledge shared is power multiplied, because information distributed is protection expanded, because wisdom spread is strength increased, because the immigrant who watches this tomorrow might be facing that CBP checkpoint next week, that traffic stop next month, that encounter next year. Be the reason someone else's American dream survives, the reason a family stays together, the reason a life continues on its intended path, the reason hope defeats fear. I've spent 15 years fighting immigration cases in federal courts. I've walked the halls of justice with families whose lives hung in the balance. I've sat in courtrooms where dreams were decided by judges and juries. I've seen the law work for those who knew their rights and against those who didn't. I've seen families torn apart by phone searches, children separated from parents because of digital evidence taken without warrants, dreams destroyed because of text messages misinterpreted by agents who don't understand context, lives ruined because of photos taken out of context by officials who don't understand culture. But I've also seen immigrants walk free because they knew their rights, because they stood firm when pressure mounted, because they remained silent when questions multiplied, because they demanded lawyers when threats escalated, because they protected their privacy when invasion loomed. The difference wasn't luck, it was knowledge. It wasn't chance, it was choice. It wasn't accident, it was action. It wasn't fortune, it was preparation. Everything I've shared with you today is based on actual law. Real court cases decided by real judges in real courtrooms. Constitutional protections written by the founders and interpreted by the Supreme Court. Legal precedents established through decades of litigation and appeal. This isn't theory, it's practice. This isn't hope, it's law. This isn't wish, it's reality. Your phone is your private property, protected by law, guaranteed by the Constitution, defended by the courts. Your password is your personal choice, your decision, your control, your power. Your rights are not suggestions, they're not recommendations, they're not guidelines. They are the law of the land, binding on every government official, applicable in every situation, effective in every encounter. Remember Maria from our opening story? The woman trembling at Miami International Airport? She knew her rights. She had watched videos like this. She had memorized the words. She had practiced the responses. When that officer said, "Step to the side," she stepped. When he asked for her phone, she respectfully declined. When he pressed harder, she remained firm. When he threatened consequences, she demanded a lawyer. She kept her phone locked. She kept her rights intact. She kept her dignity defended. She kept her future protected. She made it to Seattle. She started her dream job. She's building the life she always imagined. She's living her American dream right now. And so can you. The next time someone in uniform asks for your phone password, you'll know exactly what to do. You won't panic. You won't surrender. You won't apologize. You won't explain. You'll stand there confident and calm, protected by the Constitution and armed with knowledge. You'll look them in the eye and exercise your rights without shame. You'll protect your privacy without guilt. You'll defend your dignity without apology, and you'll keep your American dream alive, because that's what Americans do. We stand up for our rights, we protect our freedoms, we defend our Constitution, we fight for our futures, even when, especially when it's hard, even when, especially when it's scary, even when, especially when the pressure is overwhelming, even when, especially when everything feels at stake. This is your country, these are your rights, this is your protection, this is your power. Use it, stay strong, stay informed, stay protected. Your American dream depends on it.